The Workshop, a stuffed wombat production.
This is the Shirehampton Stuffed Wombat Society with their performance of...
Excuse me.
What?
Excuse me, hello?
Who are you?
Oh, sorry, yes, I'm Mrs. McCann.
Look, Mrs. McCann, I don't wish to appear rude, but would you get out of my recording booth? It's really not big enough for two people, and...
It's just, well, you know, these plays.
What about these plays?
They're a bit dull.
I resent that.
Oh, God, that's the author.
Now listen here, Mrs.
McCann.
Mrs. McCann. I spent hours hunched over a knackered old manual typewriter to come up with these plays. I suppose you think you could do better, do you?
No, but...
Well then, push off.
But surely a little audience feedback would help.
She's got a point.
Whose side are you on?
Look, we only want to help improve the plays.
Yes, look how that turned out in the episode called Insert Title Here. Complete debacle. No one had a clue what was going on.
OK, but why not give your audience more of the stuff they love?
Such as?
Well, everyone loves the wee boy that's in the plays.
Ah, yes. He's a promising young actor. Good. Well, thank you for your suggestion. Now, would you please let my announcer get on with his job?
No.
Thank you. What?
No, I'm not leaving until you agree to hold a focus group meeting.
Absolutely not.
I'm not listening.
Not happening.
La, 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 la. I've got my fingers in my ears, la 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 la.
OK, I give up. But you're bloody organising it.
Who, me?
No, her, Mrs. McCann.
Does that mean I'm out of a job?
No, if you're not working as the announcer, you can chair this nonsense instead.
Right-ho. Chairman. I'll see what I can do. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to the Mugg and Zung play script focus group. I hope everyone's had a chance to grab a cup of tea and a biscuit. If not, feel free to pick one up from the table over there. Yes?
Mrs. McCann. Excuse me, do you know if these biscuits are gluten-free? I'm starving, but I don't want to make myself ill with a non-gluten-free one.
Good point, Mrs. McCann. Yes, I bought them, and I'm afraid they're bog-standard Tesco rich tea biscuits, so not gluten-free.
Mrs. Barrington here. Is there any soy milk for those of us who are dairy-free?
Who knew that a simple cup of tea and a biscuit could be so sodding complicated? Thank you for raising that, Mrs. Barrington. I'm sorry there's only full-fat milk.
Isn't there any semi-skimmed? I'm on a diet.
No. Perhaps you'd like to take it black. Right, let's start by setting some ground rules. First, could people refrain from talking over each other? Second, there are no bad ideas, so please don't criticise anyone's suggestions. Finally, let's have fun. The best ideas happen when you're enjoying yourself. So, who'd like to start? Yes?
Mr. Reed, soon to be Miss Reed. Aren't you supposed to tell us where the toilets are? And what to do in the event of an emergency?
Gordon Bennett. Yes, good point, Mr. Reed.
Miss, if you don't mind.
Sorry, right. Yes, the toilets are through the double doors over there, then they're on your right.
Which one should I use if I'm transitioning?
Good question.
You're OK, love. They're unisex anyway.
Thank God for that.
Oh, I'd take some tissue with you too. The cubicles are often out of loo roll.
So to address your other point, in the event of a fire, follow the green emergency exit sign above the door there.
You mean the red one?
No, the green one. I don't see any red sign over that door.
Oh, it's green, is it? Sorry, I'm colourblind.
Right, well, we should all head towards the green or red sign and gather at the far end of the car park. We'll only be able to re-enter the building once the emergency services have given us the all clear.
What if there's a terrorist attack?
Sorry, are you serious? Who'd plan an attack on this focus group, the anti-Mugg and Zung brigade?
You said we shouldn't criticise people's suggestions. I wanted to make sure we're prepared for all eventualities.
OK. So, if, in the extremely unlikely event that we're the subject of a terrorist attack, I suggest you all run like hell.
Dr. Hall, so how's my poor mother going to escape? She's not capable of running.
Isn't she your responsibility?
I wouldn't have brought her along if I thought there might be a terrorist attack.
Look, there won't be.
How can you be so sure?
So, I think that's all the potential terrorist attack scenarios covered. As I said, in the event of World War III kicking off, I think we're all pretty much doomed anyway, so we really shouldn't worry about it. Right, so, moving on.
Just a sec. What do we do if there's a zombie attack?
Well, I rather gather that zombies feast on brains, so I don't think that's something you need to worry about.
I'd be more worried about an alien invasion if I were you, matey.
Sorry, did you want to add something, Mr...
Ben. No, I was talking to myself. It wasn't important.
Mrs. Gorton, I don't want to sound rude, but can we hurry up? I've got to get home and put these 2 children to bed.
Mummy, why has that man got a green tentacle growing out of the bottom of his trousers?
Shh, I've told you before about making personal comments.
Yes, sorry, Mrs. Gordon, I really didn't expect the housekeeping, as it were, to take quite this long. OK, so who'd like to start?
Ben again. Can I just ask, when are Mugg and Zung coming on?
Is he on helium or something?
I'm not sure what you mean, Ben.
When does the play start? You know. When does the announcer say, "This is the Shirehampton Stuffed Wombat Society," etc.?
I think you're confused. This is a focus group, not an actual play. Mugg and Zung won't be appearing, so to speak.
What? You mean I've come all the way from Bognor for nothing?
Crumbs, that's a long drive. I hope the A27 wasn't too busy. It can get backed up for miles in the summer.
It's okay, I didn't come by car.
Oh, God, you didn't come by public transport, did you? Those southern train services can be a complete nightmare.
Can we park my transport arrangements? They're really not that important. Look, if the real Mugg and Zung aren't coming, don't you have... what's the theatrical term?
Understudies?
Yes.
At the risk of repeating myself, this isn't a play. There's no material, and we don't have any trained actors.
That hasn't held the actual productions back so far, has it?
Mr. Fowler, can I make a suggestion?
Please do.
If Ben here wants a play, couldn't we, sort of workshop one?
I'm sorry, but this is a focus group, not an improv event.
Well, it's not been very focused so far, has it?
Look, give me a chance. OK, on that note, let's get down to business.
Dr. Hall again. Can I check you have some sort of qualification in research methods?
Not as such.
Well, you either do or you don't.
Oh, Lummy, why did I agree to this? Fair enough. In the interests of transparency, I can definitively say that I have no such qualification.
Dr. Reed, no relation to that bloke.
Woman?
That woman over there. So you've not defined the scope of the research? Or the hypothesis you're trying to prove? I mean, where are the questionnaires? Where's the person recording our interactions and responses? I'm guessing you haven't even considered how you'll analyse the data.
Perhaps you and Dr. Hall would like to take over. You two seem far better qualified.
If you're prepared to pay, then I might consider it.
Look, I've barely got the bus fare home. I doubt I could afford your consultancy rate.
This is a complete waste of time. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm going home. I've got an appointment with a large glass of wine and the latest instalment of The Traitors on television.
Miss Astbury here. What did you have in mind for this focus group, non-focus group then?
I was tasked with gathering audience feedback on the plays. You know, what people liked, what they didn't like, that sort of thing. However, I suppose it could include which actors or characters they wanted to hear more from.
I like the aliens and all the shooting and explosions.
I'm sure you wouldn't be so keen on aliens if you met a real Boschemite. Nasty wee shites.
Do you mind? I'd rather not have Freddie's delicate ears exposed to such crude language.
I rather like the Miss Lovelace character. It's so refreshing having a woman portray such a brilliant scientist.
OK, I think we're making progress at last. So that's votes for Aliens and Miss Lovelace. OK, good. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to contribute? Yes, Mrs. McCann.
Can we have stories with more personal relationships and less physics and time travel, please? Some of those time travel stories leave me totally confused. What's wrong with a story that simply has a start, a middle and an end?
Fair enough.
Well, if we're going to have relationship storylines, can we make them more inclusive?
What do you mean?
Well, none of your Mugg and Zung plays have featured a gay kiss. It's all the rage, you know. Doctor Who's had one, and of course, It's a Sin on Channel 4 was full of them.
I'm not sure how that would work in an audio production, but I'll make a note of it anyway. Right, anything else? If not, I need to get back to recording the introduction to the next play.
Ooh, what was it about?
Well, as announcer, I only get to read out the introduction and the closing credits. More often than not, the introduction doesn't give much away about the plot.
All right, but you usually tell the audience what the play's called, don't you?
Yes, your point being?
Well, if we knew what the latest one was called, we could create some content for it. You know, show the author the sort of stuff we like.
Back to workshopping material again, are we? Oh well, I suppose it'll make Ben here happy.
I suppose it'll have to do. At least I won't have completely wasted my time.
I do see one slight problem with this. We don't have any actors.
I'll give it a go.
Oh well, if this turns out to be a complete load of rubbish, you only have yourself to blame.
So what was the one you're about to record called?
I think it was called The Escape Room. From what I remember of the introduction, Mugg, Zung, Miss Lovelace and Princess Freckles have booked to play an escape room game. However, there must be a plot twist because Adolf Brussel is mentioned in the credits.
I love a good escape room game. The ones I've played have a theme. The theme usually gives you a simple backstory before locking you in.
And find out who is poisoning the champagne. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, you have exactly 1 hour to escape, or be locked in the castle cellars forever. In you go. Good luck.
That sounds ominous. Thank goodness it's only a game. Right, Mugg, what are we supposed to do?
It's pretty simple, really. See all those padlocks and combination locks?
Yes.
We need to solve the puzzles we find within the room. That'll lead us to keys and combinations, and ultimately to our escape.
Good thing I've brought a hat pin with me then. It shouldn't take me more than a few seconds to pick the locks on those padlocks.
Miss Lovelace, that rather defeats the object of the game.
Didn't the guide say we needed to identify the person who was poisoning the champagne as well?
OK, let's assume the author wrote 5 parts. Mugg, Zung, Miss Lovelace, Freckles and Brussel. That's not to say we can't add other characters, but we need to decide who's going to play each of the parts.
Can I play Miss Lovelace?
Yes, but I would have thought that part might have been better suited to Mrs. Barrington.
No, that's okay. I can play Princess Freckles.
So who wants to volunteer to play Mugg and Zung?
Oh, I'll play Mugg.
I was thinking Mr. Fowler would be a better fit.
Why? Is it because Mr. Fowler's a man?
Well...
That's a very sexist attitude.
Oh, very well.
Can I be Zung?
Yes, why not? Mugg and Zung the pantomime, here we come. So, what happens now? They're locked in this room that looks like a castle cellar. What do they see? What do they do? Over to you.
Mugg, old boy, you've done these things before. Where do we start?
We need to take stock of our surroundings. Everyone, look around and see what you can see. Freckles, what's under that glass dome?
I like what you've done there, Dr. Hall. Having Mugg ask that allows for a little exposition.
I say, it looks like 4 glasses full of champagne. Now you're talking. I hope it's Pommery and not some cheap brand.
Sadly, the dome is padlocked to the table. We'll need to find the key, or keys, if we want to indulge in the champagne.
I'm bored. Can we go home, Mummy?
Not now, darling. We're in the middle of making up this play.
Can't we just have some explosions or some battles?
I think that's going to be a bit tricky, what with this being set in a castle cellar.
Why don't you have the key for the glass dome up on a hook in the vaulted ceiling? It should be out of reach, but obviously still retrievable.
OK, so how are they going to reach it?
There must be a key somewhere, Miss Lovelace. Look around.
What's that up there? It looks like a target of some sort. Ah, and is that the key hanging just below it?
Yes, so it is. It would appear that the key is on a piece of string that hangs down right through the centre of the target.
Oh, look what I found.
I say, they look a bit antiquated. I hope we're not supposed to fight a duel with them.
My guess is that we're supposed to use those pistols to shoot through the string to retrieve the key.
Don't look at me. Firearms always make my hands shake.
Well, you can count me out too. I couldn't hit a barn door at 10 paces. Mugg, it's up to you.
If you don't mind, why wouldn't I be the obvious person to take the shot?
Because Mugg's ex-military, so he must be a good shot.
Look, let's take a shot each. Then at least there's no one to blame if we both miss.
If you insist.
Right. Let's have a look. It's already loaded. Blimey, how did they get this past the risk assessment? OK, let's get this key down. Steady. Steady. Bugger, missed.
It's up to you now, Freckles. Please don't let us fail at the first hurdle.
Et voilà.
Well, I must say, Princess, that was very impressive. I'd hesitate to suggest that your technique is the result of considerable practice.
Yes, years of shooting rabbits in the grounds of Tootendonde Castle.
Ah, time well spent then.
Nicely done. You sure you haven't done this before?
There you are, darling. We wrote some shooting into the script.
That was rubbish. I want a battle.
And I want never gets. Besides, loud noises will wake your baby brother up. Now sit quietly while we finish the play. And don't sulk, or you won't get any dinner when you get home.
Aww.
So, does the key work? What happens next?
Well, that was a bit embarrassing, Mugg, old boy. Outshot by a girlie.
I missed on purpose, of course.
Right.
Well, what are the rest of you waiting for? There's a couple of padlocks and a key standing between me and a glass of champagne.
Allow me. That's one. And the other. Mr. Zung, could you help me with the glass dome? It's surprisingly heavy.
Just a sec. Crumbs, that is heavy. Careful. Put it down on the floor.
Here's to solving the first puzzle. Cheers. Hang on. The glass is stuck to the table.
So is this one.
How are we supposed to drink the champagne if the glasses won't move? Are they simply here to tease us? Or is it part of the puzzle?
Ah, it looks like we're supposed to use these straws.
Which straws?
The ones in the plastic box.
Well, hurry up and open it.
I would if I knew the combination for the lock.
What are those strange symbols on the wall above it?
Oh, that's a pig pen cipher.
A what?
A simple code. Each symbol stands for a letter of the alphabet.
Now, how do we know what the symbols stand for?
It's easier than you might think. In English, the most common letters are E, T, A, O, I, N, etc. So, looking at the cipher text, yes, that symbol's probably an E, and that one a T, so that word is the.
Are you really doing all this in your head?
Of course. I don't have a piece of paper or a pencil on me.
I knew she was brilliant, but that really is very impressive.
OK, the message reads, the combination for the box with the straws is 1, 9, 6, 3.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's break out the straws and celebrate with those glasses of champagne.
Is it going to be as straightforward as this, or is there going to be some sort of plot twist?
We were thinking the champagne might have been spiked, or that drinking it triggers some kind of booby trap.
Is this where Adolf Brussel comes in, then?
Yeah, we imagine that Brussel is planning to kill them all off and then hide their decomposing bodies in some empty barrels in the castle vaults.
That's quite dark for a Mugg and Zung play.
Don't worry. They'll escape, of course. We haven't quite worked out how yet.
That was lovely. Vintage Pommery, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, you're the champagne connoisseur. Perhaps I shouldn't rush the rest of mine.
Crumbs, that champagne's gone straight to my head. I feel...
Zung, old chap.
I fear the champagne may not be vintage after all. I thought I detected a slight hint of...
Miss Lovelace.
Poison!
Princess, what's going on? Surely there are limits to what's allowed in an escape room game. Hello? Help! Somebody!
I'm guessing this is where Brussel comes in.
Yes, I think he needs to give some reasons for his dastardly actions. Mr. Fowler, do you want to voice up your idea for Brussels' plan?
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure how good my German accent's going to be, though.
Oh, just do your best. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Ah, Mr. Mugg. I'm so glad you're still alive. But not for much longer, I fear. I wouldn't want you missing me gloating.
Adolf Brussel, you fiend.
Yes, I like to think so.
But why? What do you gain by killing us?
Well, to the Nonde Castle, for starters. I didn't think Princess Freckles read the spore print in the participant's injury waiver form. On her death, she signed it over to me. Isn't that just so generous?
But Miss Lovelace...
Without her, I don't have to worry about her sangrates or consciousness transfer devices. Do you have any idea of the trauma she's caused me?
Zung could have shot and killed you on that island when you were disguised as nom de plume, but he didn't. Doesn't that justify the tiniest morsel of mercy?
No, too bad. Ah, looks like your friend is about to draw his last breath.
No, Zung, come on, breathe. Oh, why didn't I take that CPR course when I had the opportunity? What do I do? I don't even really know how you're supposed to give the kiss of life.
The kiss of life isn't an actual kiss, you know.
Look, I don't think the author is going to be best pleased if you kill off his characters just like that. How are you going to dig them out of this?
The aliens will rescue them.
And an explosion might not go amiss. Let me give Bill a quick call.
Well, goodbye, Mugg. I'll have Scrag clean up the mess and dispose of the bodies. It's all going dark.
Look, Bill, you're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Sorry, I thought they'd be made of steel, not flipping plywood.
Did you bring the medikit?
Yeah, but keep your hair on then.
Well, hurry up and give them the antidote and let's get home. It's the last episode of Doctor Who tonight.
Just a sec. There. They should come round in a minute or two.
That's a bit contrived, isn't it?
Par for the course, then.
Thanks a bundle. That last explosion's woken the baby up. Right, I'll have to get home and get these two to bed.
Yes, sorry about that. Oh well, I guess I should thank you all for coming. I'm not sure the author is necessarily going to use any of this material, but I hope you enjoyed yourselves.
Too right I won't be using this material. Far, far too complicated. Insert title here the sequel. I should Coco. Bloody amateurs.
The Workshop was written by Tim Reed and starred Richard Hall as the announcer Dick Zung and Alien Bill. Tim Reed was the author, Alien Ben, Dick Zung, Adolf Brussel and Mr. Reed. Sam McCann was Mrs. McCann. Listen, this is going to get really complicated. Why don't we just list the cast members instead?
Stick to the script.
Fair enough. Jill Barrington was Mrs. Barrington, Miss Lovelace and Princess Freckles. Sarah Gorton was Mrs. Gorton and Miss Lovelace. Freddie Gorton was Freddie. Xander Gorton was... Cindy Reed was Dr. Reed. Hazel Hall was Dr. Hall and Princess Freckles. Paddy Fowler was Mr. Fowler, the escape room guide, and Adolf Brussel, and Caitlin Asprey was Miss Asprey.
Ah, yes, that was rather too complicated. I missed out that both Tim Reed and Hazel Hall played Timothy Mugg. Oh well, carry on.
Sound effects were...
Quick, somebody make something up.
Freddie!
Oh, it'll have to do. Where was I? Ah, yes. And it was a stuffed wombat production.